got an interesting video for you today talking about this collapsible bass drum that I've got here. So, there's a whole bass drum in there, would you believe it? 26 by 14 inches. So I got given this. I got it about 3 years ago by Nick Ward, a very nice drummer from Birmingham. I was very grateful that he gave it to me because it's a cool, unique, kind of rare thing. So there's a company called Barry who started in 1917, I think, and then the original Barry bass drum came out in 1919. Now this one isn't a Barry. There's no other make on it. It's some kind of other company that used Barry's design. Basically, Barry's drum was he wasn't called Barry, it's just the company was called Barry. His was aluminium, whereas this is a wood shell. And so imagine if you're back in the 20s and you're a gigging drummer, but you can't afford a car. Well, cars weren't that prevalent yet anyway. So you need to get your drum kit around in the gigs. So they came up with this collapse. You can carry this, and you can carry your snare drum and your traps and cymbals all go in them, and you can do your gig. So I'm gonna open it up for you and show you how it all works. So it's a cool old original case, as you can see. It has to be made to fit this drum in it. There's a little strap that goes over the top, 2 claps on the end. And then inside, this is the cool bit about it, the design of it. These are the skins. Now, so they're obviously calf skin, and they're actually lapped onto the hoop of the drum. So there's literally just quite crude screws that hold it in. Now these are pretty old heads on it. I don't exactly. They're probably not original. They've been made on the edges here, but they're where they're folded, which they last that long. But they're cool in that they're lapped that way on. So there's obviously 2 of these. Now, when this was advertised, it was supposed to, apparently you can put it together in 3 minutes. So it'll be a bit longer than that today. I'll show you through it. And in here now then is so the rest of the shell folds into 4 pieces and fits in the case like that. So it's a bit damaged in my one, or just the wrap isn't very good on it. I don't know if might have been re-wrapped at some point or not, because it's quite a modern looking wrap on it. But so all it does then, the original idea of it, it literally just folds out. So there's hinges on the 4 pieces. Just shape. Let's say this is 26 by 14, and then in here there's brass fittings. The drum just slots together and does up. And these are to stop when it's folded into its 4 pieces that stop it banging onto itself. So that's supposed to be that. Really simple. So that kind of holds in shape. The more interesting part, then it sits on top of these skins. It's kind of like backwards as to how you'd think, but it sits on top so the hoops stick out just like a more conventional drum. And then it's got the tension rods. Obviously there's no locator on it, so it's got both these kind of like lugs but on the hoops, I guess. And then these tension rods have screw into itself, and there's a gap at the top here where that sits onto one side, and then you can unscrew it until it's got enough tension to sit. A bit tight, this one. So enough tension to sit into that hole there, and it's these lugs are slotted so that the roundness of the tension rod can fit into it, and you can tune it from that. That one's held in place from the other piece of metal, and it's tunable from the side you're sitting at then. So there's 8 of these that go on, and just like any other drum, you do opposite to try and pull the head down evenly. Doesn't always work, of course, especially in these, but that's the beauty of calf, that it moves in itself anyway. You can tune it up. So this is what you'll be doing now in your 3 minutes, I guess. Put it as quickly as possible. All the band leaders shouting at you for being late because you missed your bus. Now the actual sound of it, so I have used this on a couple of gigs when I've got an old Mini, and if I wanted to drive that, or maybe I was out doing something else or on a nice drive, I've taken this because I can fit a whole drum kit in using this collapsible kit, and it's a snare drum and a little hardware bag because the cymbals are all tiny. You can fit everything in one car. And if you're enjoying these videos that me and Martin are doing on all our old stuff, there's a lot on our YouTube channel now. Martin's been doing a series on his guitar collection, so we'll have to do a drum one soon. at some point. But for now, I just thought I'd pick this piece out because it's an interesting one. So yeah, feel free to subscribe to us if you can and find us on there. So this is the final one going in now. So the sound of it, I like it, and it's like, it works for the kind of music I do. So what I'm doing now is tuning it up opposite, trying to get that tension in it. It doesn't, I wouldn't say it would work with any pop stuff, because there's obviously no dampening in it, no holes cut in it, even though I don't really like that sound of the head, the ported head. So you can see it just pulls down on itself, and this can be done when the drum is upright as well. Give it creaking away there, it's the skin and the wood. But this drum is just, that company, Barry, they made it for about 30 years, they weren't that popular. I think the faff of it, they don't just carry drums around or use smaller bass drums, obviously their bop, it just became easier, but it's a cool little timepiece. Up it goes. Not look too bad, does it? I guess you couldn't, it'd be very hard to have painted figures on it like they did in the later ones, because it would just crease with the things. Now, so we've got some clip-on spurs here. These aren't original. They would probably been similar to this. They could have been bigger. Here's what's needed. So put them on the front. So say this is a 26 by 14 drum. Put them in, hold that in place, and I've just got an old WFL pedal here, 50s one. So I'll give you a couple of beats. So it's essentially sounds like an old boomy bass drum. And it's just about the right size, and you can see it's just like a modern one once it's set up, or like the other ones I play. You can tune them all from in place, it's high enough. And then so there's no dampening, obviously. If you did need some dampening, you just need to get an old style dampener, which you can fit in the case with it. Pop that on the head. Tune that up. And that'll be it then. Got a bit of dampening. I don't like the sound of that, but it dampens. So there we are. A Barry-esque bass drum, so set up in 3 minutes, fits in a little case, stick it in your Mini, you can do your gigs. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much. See you again.